Alright everyone, we have Division 7 once again. Bacon LandLords against Fat Colossus. And as I said before, it's not that Colossus has to go on a diet, he's not overweight. Nope, it's the free agent team Colossus. And of course, we're gonna go for our little Division 7 disclaimer. I'm always doing this, I'm talking about Division S and I mean Division 7 here. But yeah, this is Division 7. So, let's introduce the players first before we do anything else. We have Bacon Sock on the left side on Kalthas for the blue team, Aramork on Johanna, Mikasa on Turanda, we have on Varian, and Drakwar on Vala. And on the right side of the map, Colossus, the free agent team with Novariel on Hanzo, Predi on Liming, Randomagro on ETC, Rabo on Lucio, and Lametaman on Rexa. Action is already starting at the bottom of the map here. And could lead to the first kill. Ooh, that was close. ETC gets away. But before we're starting full on into the action with a 5-man actually at the bottom of the map, as Varian starts to rotate top down. We are having our usual disclaimer, guys, this is Division 7, which means that this is all bronze to gold level players that we're watching here. Also, we're going to have quite a bit of fun ripping into them for mistakes being made. We're going to use this as also a bit of a learning tool to just talk about what you need to do, what you should try to avoid, and just be advised that all of the players are well aware of that. All of the Division 7 players are fully in the know about this. Nice geometry there, Novariel. And yeah, everybody is full okay with it. As I said before, there's no feelings that get hurt in the production of this video. Nobody has to be outraged on the behalf of someone else. And it's just a lot of good fun. And a lot of these teams actually send me even the replays and say like, hey, could you please take a look at the games here? Which usually I can't, but sometimes we have the time to jump into a few of those, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. So with that said, we're heading straight into our 4 versus 4 fight down here at the bottom, and so far it actually looks like the blue team is doing pretty well here. Now we don't have the normal composition for them. The Bacon LandLords in general, they really like their Varian plays. And unfortunately, they don't always go into taunt. Would make them a bit stronger with this. And they already have massive pressure against ETC. Nice move from Lucio, actually. Whooping the target out so that ETC can get away. Really a pro move right there. What's going on here? And at the same time, again, the little hint that the setup that we see for the blue team is not quite what you usually see. Kalthas himself, not a fantastic hero on this map, simply because you can easily move out of harm's way. There's a lot of space in the middle of the map where the objective spawns so that you can dodge damage from living bombs, for example. In this case, they're not dodging anything. There might even be a second kill. The owl does the trick, and that's the double kill. Kalthas, just as I rip into him, gets 2 kills for the blue team. Lucio and Hanzo both dead, and Vala already with a ping telling the team, get over here, team! Team! Need to do this before the objective spawns. Vala nearly dying to the camp. 17 HP. Calculated, my friend. Oh god, that would have been amazing. But yeah, we have actually, again, the Colossus Smash taken on level 4 for Varian. But as I said before, in the middle of the map, normally you don't get a lot of value out of Kalthas for the reasons pointed out earlier. That should have been a kill, by the way. We had Lucio with the attempted boop and also ETC overlapping their cooldowns. If they use them one after another and maybe zone him out a little bit, they get the kill against Kalthas right there. But one of the reasons why Kalthas actually oftentimes works in those lower leagues is that a lot of the players just don't really do a good job dodging out on living bomb damage, or are magically attracted to circles, which means that they are straight running into Kalthas damage. So that's why oftentimes you still see him picked. One of the most common asked questions on my YouTube channel when we cast Division S, for example, is, oh my god, Kalthas wasn't banned and wasn't picked, what's going on here? And the reason is pretty simple. Kalthas is just not a hero that does really, that does a whole lot on the high level. He's starting to see a bit of play again, but it's mostly on specific maps like Infernal Shrines and Tomb of the Spider Queen, where the objective or the nature of the map itself really helps you with close corridors and really narrow pathways to get value out of the AoE. Vala, by the way, absolutely not amazed by what's going on here. Is zero fucks given here by Drakvar. Goes straight for the Immortal and says like, guys, I don't care what you're doing, I'm gonna get the objective, because objective win games. And that's exactly what he's doing here, and that's a fantastic one. So far, Fat Colossus is having quite a bit of trouble at this point. because right now it is a little bit tricky for them to just deal with this. Fat Colossus is facing a massive Immortal. They don't have a level 7 talent yet. And we have a bit of an AWP build, which makes things even more difficult for them. I seriously hope that Liu Ming goes for Calamity still and just forego the level 4 dominance, since it was changed a bit in the recent patch. Most of the players on the high level will still take the talent, but arguments have been made that it's not really that great anymore. Still better than AWP usually, but we'll find out. Also, Burn Flesh, bit of a meta build here even on the side of the Bacon LandLords. Oh, that was a great slide, and that should be a kill against Johanna. Really? Okay, there we go. Apparently Hanzo, he went to school again, retook the class, and then realized, oh my god, math, geometry in particular, isn't quite that tricky after all. I can do this, boys. And gets the damage connected. Nicely done here. EDC also with a bit more AoE damage with the Echo Paddle. And yes, we have Calamity, so I'm happy Panda on that sense. Every single time when a Li Ming player doesn't pick Calamity, a bunny dies somewhere and Mene sheds a silent tear in France. With that said, we're having Vala, by the way, starting to work on her own stacks. Obviously, after Monster Hunter, we've seen her go straight into the Puncturing Arrow, and now the Repeating Arrow. So Drakvor with his Vala play, trying to home in on the Immortal in particular, but also help with the added camp clear if they are trying to go for a camp. And talking about that, they're already double-checking down at the bottom. Goes straight with the Golden Cock riding into battle here onto more aggressive stance. At the top side, we see the rotation of Hanzo into the mix. 3 kills against 1, and the aggression with the Immortal gave the Bacon LandLords a lead right now. Already the double stun from Tyrande as she adds a few more stacks to her own CB. And we're having, again, the slide against Johanna, and nearly the kill, but the Iron Skin ready. Aramork holding it back for quite some time right now, which really helps them. In the meantime, we have down to the bottom of the map Varian doing this. This is actually a weird thing that Varian is, that a lot of these teams on the lower level, good kill here, maybe a second, blocked by the Khaldor. Yeah, a lot of the teams on the lower level seem to be obsessed with Varian, especially when you're looking towards the Bacon LandLords. They really play him a lot, and he usually finds himself on the off lane, and Varian isn't really a good off laner, and should that usually lose that lane. Nice damage here, by the way, against Novariel. It was nearly a kill there, and there was also more stacks for Drakvor, so an aggressive Vala play allows him now to get some more stacks in. The interesting part for me personally is that Lameda at the bot lane is starting to have huge trouble against Varian. This is a lane that Rexa should easily win here. Apparently doesn't really have the patience for that right now. Drakvor already a bit low. The problem is that Lulcio is about to fall, and as Varian comes in from the side, they get the flank kill against Hanzo. Another setup with a smash against Rando Magro as they are aiming to get the 3rd kill against ETC. That one at least doesn't quite work out, but with level 10 abilities now in the mix, they can of course be a lot more aggressive. We have also on the side of a Kalthas, the Pyroblast, and no level 10 yet for Fat Colossus. The free agent team is trying to get some plays in. Varian moving a little bit too far out. Nice control here by ETC as he slides through, but they can't turn around against him, and we still do not see level 10 there. Finally they have the talent, but now they need to go for their own Immortal and try and defend it here, and the question is, can they do that? Here comes the slide, arrow already out from Hanzo. No mosh pit attempt so far, what surprising me actually a little bit. I have no idea what Lucio wanted to do with the ult there. There was absolutely no danger whatsoever. But ETC definitely had an opportunity for the mosh pit that he didn't take. Big kill again from Varian against Li Ming as nobody peels for her. The damage spread at this point with a living bomb, and Lameda Man is trying to make sure that Hanzo also participates in the pain train that they're experiencing here. Lameda Man on the run with his Rexa. At the same time, Hanzo goes down, and it's just one kill after another right now. 7 against 2 with Drakvor sitting on 11 stacks at this point. It's a bit of a slaughter this early in the game. Now obviously that's not quite the indication of how this game or this series goes. We've seen more than one comeback in Division 7. It's usually a division or an environment where you can't really predict what's going on. But at least judging from what we've seen so far, I think that the Bacon LandLords have a really good chance of winning game number 1 at least here. I mean, this is actually getting a little bit insane. Talents on the side of the blue team are pretty solid, and we actually see a lot of mistakes on the side of Fat Colossus here right now. Just, like, especially when it comes to the heroic abilities that they threw out in the last fight, that was a bit weird. early commitment from Hanzo into the arrow with short distance. Lucio throwing out the sound barrier without any need. Running into the stun, straight up into another kill. And now we have 3 kills against Hanzo, 3 against Lucio, and they are definitely experiencing a pain drain here. The top side at least gets some value as Rexa is pushing through, and the team has now moved down to the bottom of the map with pretty much every single hero that they can muster here. Trying to go for Navariel, who's able to move away at least this time. The only one that has died so far on the side of Bacon LandLords is Johanna, and there were definitely more targets that they could have gotten. Now they're trying to defend here, but in the meantime, the top side gets attacked. Could deal with that minion wave a little bit more, but only getting some damage onto this. The Weatherman trying to get away here. In comes Varian though, trying to interrupt, and does exactly that. At the bottom of the map, the attack is still happening as they're getting the arrow in. Arrow comes through, trying to go for Vala. At the top side, Varian is still fighting it out. ETC looks for maybe even a mosh. Nope, still no. And the kill against Vala. ETC low. And here's the sound barrier. And this time it's fantastic. The Blessed Shield not even getting the kill. But in comes the Pyro Blast with 0 value since Duranda was just a little bit quicker. Yeah, but ETC currently seems to think that the mosh pit is just for a show. I haven't seen a single one yet. Obviously, it's tricky for him against this many stuns. But if you make the commitment to that talent, then you at least want to try and force that out. In comes the kill against Johanna, so they at least get some momentum here. And level 13 talents, which in itself is already pretty decent. So at least they get some momentum. We're having now on level 13 the Pyromaniac as well. Pretty, without mana, needs to head back. That's a big problem for Li Ming right there. They get the camp. They're about to get the globe too, but still we should see. Yeah, there goes Jaina. Oh, sorry, Li Ming goes immediately back to the Nexus and tries to get a bit of mana back, and for very good reason. I mean, right now you can't really do a whole lot of that. Again, the jump, and Misha doesn't care. Misha does not care. Arrow comes out at the bottom, misses everything. Bacon Soccer, on the other hand, is nearly down, but survives again. Just no coordinated effort here. And they actually engaged into a 3 versus 4. They didn't wait for Li Ming here either. At the top lane, still a bit of a battle between our 2 solo laners. And Misha just doesn't attack Varian for some reason. So it's all about... There's very little pressure against the hero itself. Aramork, in the meantime, is eating the damage, so does Drakvor. So the 4-man here, finally with the rotational move into the middle, can try and get that done. And this is really the moment where they have to start a bit of a comeback, because that keep survived, but barely, so there's not really too much catapult pressure yet against the red team. But if they want to have a chance in this one, then they really need to do something. And they're not even defending! They're trying to go for the kill down here. There's the mosh pit against a single target, and they get the kill against Kalthas. That's at least something. The problem is it comes at a cost, and that's a big cost at that. Well, first of all, Rexa is trying to get something done here. Blessed Shield comes out, and the stun. Rexa is trying to get away, but gets taken down. The sound barrier comes in too slow. So not only did they give up the halftime show on the Immortal, they also lost the hero in the process. Arrow comes in, good one at that, and that should be a kill against Mikasa. Yes, Duranda is down. Varian eliminates Li Ming just before he himself dies. But at least they're getting some kills through. 11 against 7, and the comeback is definitely there. So once again, they're trying to turn it around and win the first objective from the game for themselves. Top lane is also pushing down to the bottom of the map. Vala is holding the lane for now and gets some additional experience. Might lead them even into level 16. Hanzo's the only one that's attacking here. And he knows he has auto attack, so that's pretty much all that he knows right now. We don't have a full focus into a scatter arrow build that would help him with that. Instead, we have the explosive arrows on level 4 here. But yeah, still pew-pewing away against the Immortal, slowly and steadily. But for now, we're having the setup at the top starting to get a bit of value, but in comes the first defender. Trying to turn it around here. Level 16 is something that the Bacon LandLords are waiting for. It's actually kind of interesting. They're honestly waiting for the talent. They're trying to stall it out until they get the level 16 talent advantage. That already requires quite a bit of thought that we haven't seen in the past from the Bacon LandLords. I'm impressed. And they get the kill. Rexa is dead again. ETC comes in maybe a bit too late. Already the Blessed Shield missing, as we had the engage from Varian himself. Lucio is also kind of irritated there that everybody else is fleeing and he is left. But they're starting to turn it around now down here at the bottom. And honestly, if they just commit a little bit more to the Immortal, they're going to take it. And I'm talking about the red team here, but instead, are they gonna get it? Oh, no, they're not. If they would have just moved in a little bit quicker, in comes the kill against Hanzo. Li Ming herself just can't really get those kills and resets in right now. But they could have gotten that Immortal, seriously. At this point, it's the Bacon LandLords that walk away with the third objective, but that was definitely doable from the perspective of Colossus. It felt like nobody felt responsible to take those last few remaining hit points down, and so they just moved away from this one. At this point, we're having, again, the push straight through the top lane, and the defense, yeah, they need to definitely retreat from this. Already, Johanna was waiting for the Blessed Shield, but didn't have the cooldown. But you can definitely tell that the Bacon LandLords improve a little bit. Maybe not quite necessarily in the heroes they pick. They still have that Khaldor set up, and also that Varian on the offlane, which in particular I don't really think is a great idea. But they make a lot of better moves. Bala in this case, smurfing, staying outside of the mosh pit and getting the quick interrupt as we have ETC about to fall. Yep, that particular Pyroblast again with 0 value. I don't think we have seen a good one yet. The Meta Man goes also down, and that is trouble brewing because the Immortal is defended, but the problem is with only 3 heroes left, they might still lose the keep here. But as it turns out, with everybody being rather low, the team in blue decides that it's a better choice to move away for now and fight another day. Honestly, not quite sure if I agree with that. We have Tyrande with a lot of mana still, could definitely heal them out here, which is something that she currently doesn't do. And they had enough poke to at least get that keep, I feel. But as it stands, that leaves another chance for Colossus to come back into this game. So it's definitely an opportunity where they can try and make a play. Also, level 16, the Arcane Orbit now taken for Li Ming. So we're having, again, a little bit of a hybrid build currently on her end. Also the Feigned Death for Rexa, which is maybe going to help him to finally survive through a couple of those aggressive moves. Yeah, I honestly gotta say that Li Ming is having huge problems here. Huge problems. The RNG gods were actually with her this time, so the arrow didn't connect again. But Varian is always homing in on her, and especially without any burst heal, since they're only relying on Lucio and the sound barrier, it's really tricky. We have on ETC sides at least prog rock completed, so that's something. But now that the pressure comes from all over the place, we need to have someone move down to the bottom to help out here, or they're going to lose that keep. And that couldn't come at a worse time, because that Immortal is spawning soon again, so they need to face this here. There's also no reason not to. There is no talent disadvantage, but they're not moving in quickly enough. They don't have the AoE. Rexa isn't here either, and that's the end of the keep. That has to be the end of the keep. The Bacon LandLords move in and try and take it down. ETC is already low, and there's a Pyroblast that might actually find some value finally. It's Khaldor that gets the kill. ETC is down, and they're pushing this out without any problem whatsoever. The Bacon LandLords on the way to the core. Might just retreat now and go for the objective, to be honest with you. Because either way, if they get a full shielded Immortal, this game is pretty much done with. Right now, looking over to the damage output, 50,000 on Vala, 50,000 on Khaldor. 52k and 66 on the side of Hanzo and Li Ming. Pretty decent damage output on them, but you just can't get the kills that they need. And again, Varian is sitting at the side here. And jumps in, tries to get the connect. That didn't work out. Sound barrier is already out. They're going for Aramok, trying to get the kill there. Instead, they're focusing the target on the top, which is Varian. Halftime show has already been reached, though. And ETC is just now back, but they need to fight. And the choke point gets controlled by Vala. Once again, arrow after arrow is hitting hard, is hitting home. And they're trying to burn that Immortal down. Defense is there. Again, the spread as Lucio nearly dies. Lucio dies to the Owl of Tyrande. And now we have also a near-death experience from Li Ming, who barely survives through that. And they just can't get the kills. Having once again Varian zoning them out. Mikasa with the heals the entire time. That's a fully shielded Immortal. That has to be game. Level 20 now also in the hands of the blue team. I mean, at this point in time, there's pretty much nothing you can do anymore. Which is, we have the Master at Arms on level 20. Cooldown reduction in particular is obviously one of the biggest assets right now in this setup. The Flamethrower too. And the biggest problem that we're having here from Fat Colossus is just a bit of a lack of coordinated damage. They definitely have heroes that can dish out damage, but not anybody that will be able to follow up on these stuns properly and get the quick kills. And then you have only Lucio for the heals, and that in itself is a problem. ETC is immediately dead, and that should be game. A short distance arrow from Novariel, but obviously it seems already too little too late as we have Misha about to fall, and there's the attack against the core. Fat Colossus is about to lose the first game in this best of 3 series at Division 7 as we have the Bacon LandLords moving in, nearly with another kill. Faint death in the Nexus, and that's the core falling. Fat Colossus loses game number 1 as the Bacon LandLords take the 1-0 lead in the best of 3. Game number 2, the Bacon LandLords in the lead, and they're getting a little bit overconfident here. Look what we have right now against Colossus in game number 2 on Volskaya. We have the Butcher. Fresh meat. Bacon Soccer playing the hero. Mikasor on white main. I'm actually nailing that pronunciation. I'm so proud of myself. With Zarya going also on level 1 straight into the Feel the Heat. Drug1 Hanzo and Aramork on ETC in the second game. On the other side, we have Predion Gul'dan, Novariel with Crash Lightning on Thrall. Great talent for the map. Outside of that in Battlefield of Eternity, probably not the best choice, but here it's pretty fantastic. Random Macro on Johanna, Rabo on Tyrande, and Lameda Man on Imperius. Alright, time to shine. Let's see what they can actually do with this. A white main Zarya support for the Butcher. And I mean, when you're playing with the Butcher, the one thing that you really have to do is make sure that at the beginning of the game you're playing it safe. If you try and get kills and you greed too much for them, then you're gonna get punished and you will never complete your baseline. So they have to try and just play this solid and slow, which is what we are seeing from most successful Butcher players as far as those exist. Now in coordinated play, I gotta say, Butcher has one of the worst track records of any hero ever. And yeah, that's more so, it's more so a quick match or Storm League hero than anything else. But maybe here in Division 7 they can turn it around. Again, the level of play that we're seeing here is from bronze to gold, so the Butcher can actually get a bit of value there. But I, in particular, want to highlight Thrall again. I honestly don't really like what Thrall is doing right now, going to that top lane. I really feel a rotation between the lanes would be better for the teams. And as we've actually highlighted some of the improvements that the Bacon LandLords made on game number 1, this time we still don't have anybody going for any of these turrets. And that's a problem. As we've said multiple times, 1 minute in, you want to be at that camp and you want to take it. And I give them some credit for moving in 30 seconds too late, but they're still making the move straight for the turret, so that's actually really important. But Novariel already wants to make the invade happen, so I like that Thrall actually rotates away from the solo lane because he needs the stacks, and they're making the aggressive invade happen. And it's a 5-man invade, and ETC is down. They steal the turret away. That's a cool move from Fat Colossus that actually worked out for them. Now obviously they're losing at the same time some of the top lane experience. That might still be a trade worth it for them, especially with the kill that they just got. They're also moving into their own turret now, which gives them double turret, and they could easily make a play then also for the healing beacon just because of the item advantage that they rock at this point. But generally speaking, you want to be at the turret camp 1 minute into the game and then play around that and take it early. Maybe have someone anchor the play too, but the double turret gives the team in red definitely a pretty big advantage right now. We have currently 3 stacks on the side of Thrall, not really too much. Went also into the Feral Resistance. Now, not really a talent that you see too often. Usually you either go into your Frost Wolf pack to get the quest completed for an Alpha Wolf pick later on in the game, or you want to go into Mana Tide for a bit more resistance. This in particular is more of a defensive talent that we're currently having here, and I think the thought process on Thrall is simply to deal with the Butcher somehow. I honestly would say that it would still be beneficial for him to just deviate away from that and get either the cooldown reduction or try and go into Mana Tide instead. I can see why he's thinking that. Not normally something that you will really consider, especially as you have a Tyrande on the other side. Sorry, on your team. But we'll find out how much value he's going to get out of this. With the same thing said, we're now also having a focus on the Butcher into the hamstring. 38 stacks for him and massive damage against ETC, who slides out. Aramork gets safe for now, but damn, the Bacon LandLords just took a beating. And that's one of the problems when you have also someone on ETC that plays a bit too aggressive. ETC is a quite squishy hero that needs some solid performance if you want to get max value out of him. Someone like Breeze, someone like Lauber or others, Mopsio included then towards the end in HTC, had fantastic games with ETC, but if you are not really 100% careful how you use your cooldowns, then you will run into a lot of trouble. And the poke that we're seeing is quite phenomenal. I mean, Pretty alone in his Gul'dan is just getting one stack after another for his level 1. Talking stacks, we're having 6 by now for Thrall. Not fantastic yet, but he's getting there. Quest completed for Hanzo, 4 minutes in, so not too bad for him either. But the big thing is that we're having nearly level 7 for them. In terms of turrets, though, we are still having 1 on the ground, but all of them have been used. Nobody made a play at any point for the healing beacon itself. Now here comes the charge of the Butcher. But already the Iron Skin being used on 99%. That's the kill against Whitemane. They're looking for the second and they find it. The Butcher goes down and Meat gets lost. And that's exactly the problem with the Butcher. You have to be willing to give things up in the early game, and currently they're not doing that. So we have already the move straight into the middle here with a Protector. Let's see what exactly they're pulling off with this. Top lane is usually where we are headed, and that's exactly what they're doing. I like it. Prepping objective number 2, making sure that they get the fountain here so they can prepare for the next objective quite easily. Level 7 talents are in, that gives them another boost, and in addition to that we have Thrall now with the Ancestral Wrath, which also adds, of course, sustainability for him. We're now seeing Cleanse on level 7, instead it's the Fanatical Power. They take the fountain down, go through the wall, and that preps objective number 2 quite easily for them. So a good setup here. Down to the bottom of the map, still Imperious with some added value. If he's able to push the lane out, the next one should actually get this wave here too. And that's exactly what he's currently doing, because that means all of the experience down here is lost for the blue team. And it gets reflected in the lead that we're seeing at the top. 7, nearly level 9 now against... 7 against nearly level 9. And 3 kill lead on top of that too. So that little setup by keeping one hero down was actually really good for them, because the blue team made the mistake of 5-manning the top lane and not having anybody in the position at the bottom of the map. We're now also seeing 10 stacks for Thrall, so he's already a third of the way through with this. But the opening into the game was definitely a great one for Fat Colossus. The free agent team is doing absolutely fantastic here in the early game. We're having now another item taken as Novariel currently moved in for this one. The rotations are still happening here. Once again, Channel as the Butcher starts to go in, looks for a kill, doesn't find it though since the defense is there. In comes Novariel, trying for the lockdown again, but they don't have level 10 yet, so there's no Blessed Shield threat yet. And no Sundering, no Earthquake, no nothing. Nearly the kill against Gul'dan. They can't quite secure it, and as level 10 is about to approach, the blue team has to be careful. If they stay in too long, they're going to be in trouble. So right now, we're having 11 stacks and 33 on Thrall and Gul'dan. Pretty decent numbers, which should also get reflected in the output here. 22,000 and 16,000 damage from the two of them, which is actually pretty solid. And here come the level 10s. Blessed Shield, we have Wrath taken for Imperious. And they're making the play for Zarya, and that should honestly be a kill. That should be an easy kill. They don't even need a heroic ability. They still use the Blessed Shield, but even that wasn't needed in my opinion. Either way, it worked out quite nicely, and now the only question remains, what are they going to do with the level 10? You can either push for structure or you push for items, one of the two. And they can make a move, for example, into the top mid and go for the healing beacon here. That would be one rotation that's definitely worth making. Imperious is still sitting at the bot side, but they need to capitalize on the level 10, and currently they're not really doing this. Have to make a play, still scouting this out. I'm not quite sure what they're afraid of. Just go for it, boys. Either try and get a kill. Oh my god, that was really bad from Bacon Soccer. They had full vision on the team. The rest of them were actually highlighting where everybody is, and then we have the kill against the Butcher because he simply stays too much. Nobody follows Johanna, so they don't get the kill against Whitemane, who does Whitemane things and keeps herself alive. But now the level 10 abilities are finally in. They're still not making the play for the fort completely. Arrow comes from the bottom of the map, long distance arrow that misses everything, and Whitemane finally falls as Gul'dan completes his quest, and now they can make the play for the fort itself, obviously. And with Whitemane down, they can also still go for the item. I'm actually amazed by the lack of rotations that we have towards the healing beacon in this game so far. And here we go, finally starting to go straight for it. So with that said, we're having, in terms of talents, also the Furnace Blast taken. Plus, in addition to that, we're now seeing also the Graviton Surge. So this is one of the big differences that you actually see between the lower level play and the top level play. Normally, on a higher level, you don't see Graviton Surge. It's all about just simply trying to isolate people by pushing them away and not sucking them in. And so that's one of the big differences here. But the thought process obviously being to use Zarya, potentially the Mosh Pit, and then the Furnace Blast on the side of the Butcher. But the Butcher is pretty much, I mean, he's currently making tough choices because he's thinking he might not really like meat all that much. He's currently thinking about going vegetarian, maybe even going full vegan, because with 62 stacks only on the baseline, that's not really a meat lover in my book. So, for now, we have more items taken on the map, especially down here, as we're having a second turret now acquired. In the mid lane, Prady is pushing this out. They want level 13. There's absolutely no reason for them to fight without it. I'm actually amazed that they're not making the rotation down here to get the additional wave. They instead rotate topside, and they can at least get that. But they could have done both. They should definitely wait before they engage for the next talent. There's no reason for them to fight now. I like the thought initially, but right now moving in, okay, they get the 13, but that was a little bit too quick if you ask me. They don't have to throw the turrets out this quickly either, but they still do. In comes the attack though, and there's the ult on Zarya with the actual value. The problem is the Butcher is now moving in with the Furnace Blast, gets immediately pushed back by ETC, so doesn't get a lot of value, but they get the kill against Lamena instead. That is at least one thing they accomplished here. The problem is that they're also about to lose ETC, but the arrow from Hanzo saves him for now. Drugmore with nice value here on the arrow and the save, but again the position taken by Colossus. But let's nitpick a little bit on that setup. So first they move in too quickly, they don't have level 13, then they drop all their items with the exception of the healing beacon for pretty much no reason. The opponent teams were already on the retreat, so these two turrets that just expired have done absolutely nothing. They got no value. They have no value whatsoever. It's not when you want to use the turrets. The turrets, you want to use them now, as you're heading into the actual end of the objective. When your opponent is forced to go for the objective, that's when you're trying to use the turrets as they push in, or at least one, and then the second only if you have to. And the second problem was that they started to chase them. There was no reason. You don't have to chase them here. You take the objective, you can play it slow. Now they have to fight back onto this, and they still have the better chance because of the 13, and actually that plays through now. The ult, oh, and it's a dance party, a big boy mosh pit. But finally, Tyrande with a healing on the ground. Zarya is dead, Johanna survives, and the Butcher is dead again. Jojo still fearlessly trying to rush in here as they get the kill against ETC, the Butcher, Whitemane, and Hanzo. It's a full 5-man team wipe as they are taking everybody down. 14 stacks by now for Thrall, which is obviously starting to get reflected in his damage output too, but he doesn't hold a candle to Gul'dan, who has been absolutely wrecking the opponent's team here. 31,000 damage by now on Hanzo on the other side, but that's the second objective that they just took here. And yeah, that's one of the big problems. Again, there was no level 13 on the side of the Bacon LandLords, and that fight setup was actually fantastic. Outside of running into the mosh pit, everything looked pretty solid here. Tyrande able to get the own healing beacon secured just in time, and then Gul'dan with a mass damage output that he had there. So the 13 in particular helping them out with a lot of it, of course. And the problem for the Bacon LandLords is right now that the Butcher just doesn't do enough yet. It's one of the biggest problems that they have here. Uchi is not in a position where he can really bring the pain yet. Here come the level 13 talents now finally for the blue team. They have the lead in the series, of course. The main question is, can they win this entire setup? Can they maybe even get that 2-0 already? But at this point, having the push with the Protector past the fort. Nice attempt here by Lamena to get a connect. The problem is that his ult did therefore go on full cooldown, and he couldn't get that Wrath through. But 16 is now in the hands of the Fat Colossus, which gives them another big boy lead here. And that gives us, amongst other things, also the Thunderstorm. So Thrall already eager to get even more damage and slows out. Gul'dan hasn't made a choice yet. Ruinous Affliction would be the standard to be taken here. Kill against Butcher again, nicely done. And they're trying to get a second one secured against ETC, who's able to move out and gets the shield from Zarya too. There come the stacks for Novariel, still 15 on his level 1. So he's actually not able to stack as quickly as you would normally hope for with Thrall on this map when you go for Crash Lightning. But he still is able to get some decent poke out, and that really helps them the entire time here. No Ruinous Affliction on the other hand. Darkness Within has been chosen now. Normally you really want to have your Ruinous Affliction to get also the Echoed Corruption value here. And that allows Gul'dan to pretty much one-shot people, especially after any kind of stun setup. At this point, we're having Mikasa down again as random aggro moved in. That Blessed Shield definitely locked White Mane down long enough for everybody else to close the distance. So that played out nicely for them. And with this, we're having, in terms of damage, 50,000 for Gul'dan. We're having 36 for Hanzo. The Butcher, by the way, has less damage than White Mane. Has barely more damage than Zarya and ETC. And especially on Zarya's side, 11,000 damage is a little bit disappointing for her. Again, the push here for the camp. To be absolutely honest with you, if Johanna would have simply moved here, they could have gotten a kill against the Butcher again. But as it happens, they're going for the items instead. And yeah, we're coming back to the value of the Butcher himself. Now, first of all, for Zarya, again, you can play Feel the Heat, definitely. Personally, I like the part of the grenade synergy with the level 1 and the level 7 talent a lot. The poke that you get out of this is pretty incredible if you play your cards right there. But when it comes to the Butcher, you have to play a safer early game if you want to have a chance of winning the games there. And that's something that very few Butchers on this level actually do. Most of them are just too aggressive. Here comes the Wrath, trying to go for the delivery boy system. That didn't quite work out. Interrupt against ETC's Mosh Pit. And the kill against Bacon Soccer. The Butcher on 68 stacks and even more hits coming, even with the double turret on the ground. They're committing here. And they take ETC, they take White Mane, they take Zarya, and only Hanzo is able to jump away here. Rushes out, has taken the mounted archery on level 13, which definitely helps him here too. But as you can tell, he's the only survivor, so it's not like he can turn that around. That's not happening. And with that, we're having, again, the move straight through the middle. And this time, it should be the first keep of the game. That's an easy one. That's a freebie right there. Still need to make sure that they're not losing Johanna, though. Iron Skin is already used. And as the keep finally falls, the objective is also being announced. They have a 4-level lead at this point. A 4-level lead, so it's a pretty incredible setup for Fat Colossus. And that's even, again, with Thrall not having a massive amount of stacks. 15 minutes into the game, only 17 stacks for Trash Lightning for Thrall is actually pretty mediocre when you're talking about Volskaya Foundry. And part of this comes because he went onto a solo lane at the beginning of the game. If you're playing Thrall with Crash Lightning, the thought process behind it is always to get 3 melees. You want to have someone else on the solo lane. And that's what they have Imperius for. But instead of making a rotation happen between 2 lanes and having a solo laner on the other, they decided to have a 1-3-1 split and set Thrall up on a 1-on-1 lane, where he can't really stack properly in the early stages. Items are now taken all over the place. And that's not the only problem, because we're currently also seeing Fat Colossus marching towards level 20, which is also pretty solid for them. They get items, they have level 20 around the horizon. There's also a 4-level discrepancy between the two teams. And they're pushing the bot lane now too, just because they can. I mean, why wouldn't they? At the top we saw the pressure against the wall here by the blue team. We're now trying to defend here, but it's level 20 talents against 16. Right now, you honestly just... The biggest problem for Fat Colossus is the question, how do we end the game and do we type GG in caps lock or not? That's the biggest problem that they're facing here. Unless they completely facepalm right now, they have this game in the bag, because it's 17 kills against 1 on top of things too. And with the Storm talents alone, this should basically be it. Butcher rushes in again, Furnace is there, here comes the attack, Horrify is being used too. Zarya ult comes out, they're trying to go for the party, the mosh pit is interrupted. ETC is already in trouble, the delivery system delivers Zarya into the backline. Bacon Soccer healing himself with the Butcher's brand for a little bit longer, and of course Whiteman is involved here too, but it's still a double kill as Zarya and the Butcher both go down. And with that, the keep is about to fall. Top lane gets pressured out by the camp that was taken a bit earlier. And now they can simply go for the core here. 61,000 damage by Gul'dan. only a single death on Lameda Man, on Imperius, and they are more or less one-shotting Hanzo here, or they nearly do. White Mane is preventing the worst. The core is being attacked though, and they are making the plays right now. Aramorg is already rushing away, trying to get out here. We're having in the meantime the shield obliterated, the core taking damage. They go for ETC again, they go for White Mane. The delivery system with the Wrath comes in as Imperius turns straight into an Uber Eats delivery boy. And with that, we're having nearly the core taken down, but the problem is that they're actually not committing to it fully. They get the shields out, here comes the Butcher again, and gets the kill against Thrall. With 50% on the core, they are actually holding, and they get the kill against Gul'dan too. The core gets in the meantime destroyed by catapults on the other hand, and nobody pays attention to it. The Winions with a he walks past it. He actually walks past the catapult, and the core is down to 11 points. Tyrann is apparently trying to kill the core with an owl. That's what it looks like. Damn, doesn't do damage to structures. That's unfortunate. But they still have the progress happening here at the Punisher, the Protector itself. I'm actually a little bit mind blown that why is the blue team not going for the objective? It's literally the only thing that can possibly bring them back into this, but they allow their opponent to get their heroes back before they do anything. And now it's only ETC moving in, a 1 versus 3 setup, despite the fact that you have 5 on the map. So now they finally go in, but ETC is about to fall, survives thanks to White Mane. Here comes the delivery system again, but they need a kill now. And there's no reason why they couldn't get a kill. It's a 5 versus 3, just take him down. Seriously, just go for it, boys. Alright, that's definitely a bit of an unfortunate setup. The Bacon LandLords, they wait too long with the rotation. Obviously, they had to push the lanes out a little bit. But their only hope is to get the Protector here and then end the game with the Protector. And they just allowed their opponent to get 5 heroes back in the game and get items on top of that with 99% already on the progress bar. You can imagine how that's gonna go. So they're starting to move straight in here. Also, the targeting of the Butcher is a little bit weird. I mean, I haven't really kept count, but it really feels like here's a bit of a hard-on for Johanna, who can simply deny all of it with the Iron Skin. Instead, going for Thrall or someone else would probably be the better choice. Here comes the attack again. Arrow misses completely, but the core is being attacked by catapults again. White Mane is about to go down here. There's the Mosh Pit, doing a bit of damage. Zarya is nearly gonna go down. She's actually falling. So is the core, by the way. Shields are gone, and as the fight rages on, the game is over as the catapults deliver the final blow. And the Winions take the victory here for Fat Colossus as they tie the series and force Game 3. The final map in the series is Infernal Shrines, and well, we have a bit more of a normal comp here in our third game. Bacon Soccer, after the unsuccessful Butcher, was now banished onto playing Anduin. We have Aramorg on Johanna again, on Blaze, and Drakvor on Phoenix, with Mikasor on Orphea. That's nearly meta what we're seeing here. Maybe not quite, but it's getting there. On the right side, Colossus with Novariel on Hanzo, Prady on Jaina. There's the burst that we've been missing in game 1. We have Random Aggro on Nuburak, and Rabo on Malfurion, with Imperius played again by La Metaman. So far, so good. So we have our offlaner set, we have our damage also set up. We still see a combo with the Nuburak's Engage and the Roots from Malfurion on the ground, so that finally Jaina can get the value with the burst damage. And that's actually something that I'm really curious for, if they can coordinate that properly, because that should be a couple of kills here in this game. Coffin Girl already on the left side is just like floating around there a little bit. No strings attached. And up to the top, we're currently having the lunge attempt, but the immediate turnaround as Blaze is punishing Imperius for the audacity of actually even trying to get a bit of damage in there. So, with that said, we're having down here still a 4-man rotation happening, so the two teams are a little bit more hesitant right now. And it is the third map. I mean, again, there is quite a bit on the line here for them. You want to win that series, obviously. The wave clear that we are seeing coming out is already there, up to the top side, still at 1 versus 1 battle. I mean, especially curious to see how that Blaze setup works out when we hit level 10. Because it's the Bacon LandLords after all. I'm not going to put it past them to go for combustion here, but obviously we're still expecting the bunker to be used. Just the better talent, generally speaking, as long as their teammates actually use the bunker. But for now, we have camps taken, and that was actually an earlier rotation from Fat Colossus, which might actually enable them to go for the Bacon LandLords camp as well. Which at this point, they're not really doing. So yeah, they're not making the move here. Bacon Soccer is also a little bit of an enigma to me personally. Kelthas in game number 1, Butcher in game number 2, and then Anduin in game number 3. It's like, what? What's going on there? I mean, he's all over the place. Range damage, playing the off lane, and now going straight into the healer. So it's not really that they have actual roles in Division 7 here. I mean, one of the easiest things that you can actually do when you're in a low league amateur team is to only focus on 2 to 3 heroes that you play and specialize on those, ideally in the same role, and then draft around them. That's normally the best way to improve. The biggest mistake that low-level players usually make is that they are thinking they have to play 5 to 10 heroes and be able to play them in any capacity. And that's normally not true. It's much better if you're looking at the meta heroes and you focus on, let's say, 2 to 3, play those and let your drafter draft around them. Makes it still pretty hard for your opponent to ban you out and draft around you, but it allows you to specialize on a couple of heroes and have really good combos. Especially kill combos from a CC chain into burst damage are pretty easy to execute if you have someone playing, I don't know, Johanna, Muradin, Diablo, or Garrosh, doesn't really matter. Have a follow-up stun ready with a Tyrande, with a Malfurion on the roots, or anything like that. Maybe even stun from an offlaner, and then one hero that, or one player that plays damage dealers like Jaina and other burst damage that is just able to deliver a big punch. You can usually get really quick kills. And it's simple setups that you need to go for. Way too many teams on the lower level are trying to outdraft an opponent and find that one pick that will allow them to just checkmate their opponent in draft already. And that's usually a pretty bad way of approaching it, at least on, again, we're talking lower leagues here. So yeah, having a stable base is oftentimes more important there. Talk about stable, the blue team has a very stable count of minions. They are getting this one without any fight whatsoever. So the first Punisher is let go, which is definitely a play you can make if you get value elsewhere on the map. And I'm not quite sure if they really got this, because they're still on exactly the even experience. That's a problem. Normally if you let the first one go, the whole thought process behind it is you're trying to get a lead. And while you get the lead, your opponent is getting the Punisher, and then through the Punisher damage, you are able, or they are able to mitigate that advantage that you built up earlier. But it didn't quite work out. It's not a big loss though. The bait over the wall was correctly executed by Colossus, so that's already a big plus in my book. And they were able to set the defense up there too, so that they're starting to move straight in at this point. For maybe even a kill, especially as Lameda Man is now moving in as well. He's obviously looking for the lunge. Getting a bit of damage in against Bacon Soccer here, but not enough, and Lameda Man is not making the move yet. Hanzo rotates down, and we see Imperius rotating back up to the top lane. When it comes to the builds here, we have a bit of an adjustment with the Inner Fire on level 4, so normally it's more of a focus in the Divine Star overall, but now, in this case, attack speed and attack range get increased. That's right down Bacon Soccer's alley, I'd say, especially with the focus that he normally has on trying to dish out some damage too. With that said, we're now having Sins exposed in the Zealous Glare, so a bit more of a focus this time by Johanna into the change talents. That was a nice route, that was a fantastic route, and that's a great kill. Nicely set up. We have Rabo with a fantastic route of Malfurion, and then Prady immediately there with a burst damage. That was nicely done by them. And that was also kill number 1. It was the first kill in the game right here. And, well, besides that, we have now obviously a bit of momentum going for them, where they might try and get the kill up topside, but I like it. Blaze is actually not even showing himself here. He's playing this quite nicely down at the middle bow. A bit of a fight happening. Slight advantage right now. There comes the stun as the jet propulsion comes in. Root on the ground, the focus onto Blaze, and he's about to fall. Brady tries to go in for the damage, goes in a little bit too deep and dies, so it's a kill for a kill. Yeah, trying to make the play for Phoenix himself now. Jaina might not have been needed there for the kill. They are definitely going a little bit too deep. The lunge connects, but nobody follows it up. With Jaina down, there's nobody to really capitalize on all the stuns here. Talking stuns, and the Magro is going back in, and they're rushing away with a quick lunge here, using it just for a bit of mobility. So far, so good, as they're trying to get ready for objective number 2, which is, by the way, going to spawn topside. It's going to be a Mortar Punisher that we're going to see here. 10 is obviously the next big milestone for both of the teams, as they're trying to look to close out the series with a 2-1 victory, but also they're going to attempt to make sure that those heroic abilities are ready. And Nuburak himself has not gone into the subterranean shield, actually having the Rubian armor here too. And I really feel like, generally speaking, for Nuburak, you 1-up Regeneration Master on level 1. It's just the additional hit point that you get here, and Regeneration is pretty fantastic for him. But apparently this time he wasn't quite sure how many you would get, but if you're watching any kind of higher level play, that's normally what's the case there. Nice isolation down here already. They're trying to get the stuns through. Could get the stuns with a noob at this point. It's a 4 versus 4. The salvo is in. The Ring of Frost. The double kill against Blaze and Phoenix. Malfurion has fallen, and they try to follow that up maybe, but they don't have enough stuns. So, seriously? If... hello? Brady has a death wish there, apparently. But honestly, if Jaina would have moved over together with the 2, they could have gotten the kill against Johanna easy peasy. She didn't have Iron Skin anymore, so that was just a present that they didn't take. With that, we're now also seeing the move at the top side, as Lameda Man is already waiting for the rest of the team. But the red team is actually in a bit of a weird situation now, because they took so long with that rotation that they're heavily falling behind in the stacks again. Now have to try and take that back. So we have once again the move. There we go. Attempt for red already. Yeah, there comes the Eternal Feast as they're trying to get the damage in. Nuburak misses the stun, and they're zoning them out. Jaina is completely isolated. Dodges the Blessed Shield though. Might even survive this, and is about to turn it around. Yeah, can she drop the damage? That's the question. Anduin gets just carried in by Imperius. They're trying to get the kill, but already the Jet Propulsion locking down Imperius. And here comes Hanzo with the damage, but the kill against Imperius is just a bit quicker. They're trying to make another play for Phoenix, but this time he warps out, and they turn it around against the Nuburak, who's about to fall, gets the shield and moves out of harm's way. But they are about to lose another Punisher here. Trouble is brewing. Rabo, on the other hand, with the roots the entire time, is getting quite... Oh, the salvo! And the triple kill! And Nuburak goes down as well, turns it into a quad, and this is getting bonkers. What a setup here. Honestly, Drugwar seems currently like the best player in the team. I mean, every game that we've seen so far, he definitely made some really nice moves. We had him with very decent Valor play in game number 1. And it just felt that on a skill level, he is definitely outperforming quite a few of the players here. Held back his ult for a long time, and that gets salvo through, and a triple damage on top of it. That's an easy 4 destroyed already at the top side. And we're seeing them moving through towards the keep now too. I doubt that they're gonna get it, but there's the bait, and it goes over the wall, but barely, as Rabo was at the front. 15 stacks, by the way, on Malfurion's level 4 already. Not even 10 minutes into the game. They're burning the Punisher down, and have now an opportunity to maybe even turn it around. Big boy arrow! The ring! Oh, it's fantastic! But the old form Anduin, and here's the combustion, as feared, as expected. Who needs the bunker? Didn't even talk about that yet. Another triple kill against the red team, and all of a sudden, oh god, Colossus is losing a 4th. Down goes a Nuburak, and that should be damage against the keep itself. Maybe even the destruction of it, as the minions push in and soak the shots from the board. I have no idea why nobody takes that globe. I mean, it's right there. It's honestly right there next to them. But they're getting the keep regardless. And that's a 10-minute keep. That's a 10-minute keep for them right now. In terms of damage output, it doesn't really surprise that Phoenix is taking the top number with 27,000. We have currently 26,000 for Hanzo. They're still trying to follow that up. Yeah, nice, slow, and that's a kill. That should be a kill. Will it be a kill? Could be a kill. No, the save by Anduin. Oh, can they close the distance? No, they cannot. Broccoli nearly made it happen. But even Broccoli is not fast enough to catch Johanna. Oh, boys. Okay, so... But with that said, we're having still a massive lead now with 11 kills against 4 for the blue team. The Bacon LandLords now, in addition to that, with the additional 2 levels over their opponent. 15 to 13. But at least the talent is ready for the team in red. Mikaso. Oh, the root is a moment too late. Arrow gets dodged. You gotta be kidding me. Mikaso, the Juke Master 2000, jukes them out, all of them, and they get the kills against Imperius, against Malfurion, and finally Mikaso is taken out too. But it's a triple kill as Jaina falls, and they might even get a 4th if they have another stun ready. Doesn't look like it, but now we're looking at 14 kills against 5. Absolutely bonkers. They are murdering here. And Mikaso with the jukes all over the place here and turns it around with a quick kill. Nicely done. Now we're having, of course, not even a talent taken for Jaina yet, so she apparently hasn't really gotten the memo that they have level 13. So a little bit too confused here. Whole renewal also taken. Another setup. No blessed shield yet on Johanna. That would have been a kill against random aggro too, but they couldn't quite get that in. The objective is spawning again though, and that means that we have a potential 3rd Punisher for the blue team, but they're not even trying to go for it right now. Instead, they're starting to make the play for the fort at the bottom of the map, and for good reason. Camps are taken all over the place, by the way. They have taken 3 Khaldor camps now, which means it's not only the bot lane that is being attacked. In the middle, we're having a double camp pushing in, and so far, it's only Imperius and Malfurion trying to deal with it. So they're in a really tough spot as the rotation is about to hit them. If Lametaman doesn't pay attention, he might even fall there too. And Johanna this time not throwing the blessed shield out. They were pretty aggressive with the use of that ult in the past, but right now they're taking it a bit easier. But they're now making the play for the next Punisher, and at this point Colossus is obviously faced with a tough decision. Do you go... What is that actually? That shouldn't really be Orphea in there. If anything, it should be Jojo, and Orphea should be helping the team out there. But yeah, bot lane is still pressuring, but the decision is still, do you fight without level 16 talents, yes or no? And they make the decision to go for it. Yeah, the ring doesn't really do too much. There's the ult again, but immediately countered by the quick Anoop ult, and Anoop is down already. Aramork about to fall, but gets the Iron Skin through, gets the shield, and they get 4 kills in total. Novaria, the only survivor here for a little bit longer. Once again, it's Hanzo that rushes away, but they are just murdering. Especially when we're looking over to Orphea. She's currently sitting at 32,000 damage and has killed more than 1 target. So now we're having pressured the bot lane through the catapult. We're having in the middle the Punisher with the rest of the team moving in. And it's 18 kills against 5. I mean, they are seriously starting to take that down. I mean, at this point, we're looking at 0 deaths on Johanna. We're having massive damage output of especially Phoenix. And the setup here is just absolutely insane. I mean, they're going through now, again, the bait over the wall. That's something that Colossus is definitely doing right. They're baiting the objective over the wall continuously. And again, I have to highlight it because it's not something that we see a whole lot in Division 7. I mean, hey, even in Storm League, no matter what level you play, you still have a couple of monkeys that are not able to bait a Punisher over a wall, or don't even know what that concept is about, is supposed to do. Over here, we're having the keep eliminated, and keep in mind, that's keep number 2. And they might even make the play for the core here. If they get another kill at this point, they could, and Blessed Shield is ready. The problem is that Aramork is really low, so you need to be a bit cautious with it. At the top lane, we're seeing the Minions pushing in slowly and steadily as well, but getting out-pushed. But this is starting to look really grim for Fat Colossus. They struggle here. They need 16, and then they need to force a fight. This is pretty much what they need to do. Once you have the 16 talent, you need to try and force a fight before your opponent hits level 20, or you're going to be in a world of pain. 21 stacks, by the way, for Malfurion. So when it comes to broccoli damage, he's actually not looking too bad. 16,000 damage for him right now. More than Imperius, which is a bit weird to say the least here. But yeah, so for now, camp at the top is also about to be taken. Normally you want to grab that, obviously, a little bit later. So that top lane pushes even harder. I mean, it already pushes through catapult pressure. But you don't want to take it right now. You're trying to delay it slightly until the objective is actually spawning. And in this case, Fat Colossus are not even trying to force the fight. They're sitting tight right now. Camp at the top has been taken, so they're just going from camp to camp. They want level 20. Epicenter is in now. That at least gives them something. Yeah, here We have the arrow, short distance again, Eternal Feast, the Nubarak is down, Ring comes through, but doesn't do enough, not by a long shot. And we are still having the full chase on as another jet propulsion connects, this time with Hanzo, and that's the double kill. And they can go for a core if they want to right now. They have everything they need. They took down 2 heroes, they have level 20. With that, we're now having, amongst other things, Varian's Legacy. We're also seeing the Blinded by Light, and there is just nothing stopping them if they want to go for the game now. They could go for the objective once it spawns, but why would you? You have another 16 seconds until Nubarak is back. They're escorting the camps through. They have catapults coming in from every single angle, and this should actually be game. It should at least be a lot of damage on the core if they can't finish it off right now. Already the salvo, that should be the end of Malfurion. Oh, maybe not. Ah, they get the kill. And that's the core falling, and this is going to be a victory. A 2-1 victory against Fat Colossus for the Bacon LandLords in Division 7 with 23 kills against 5. GG, and well played as the LandLords take the series.